Rob,
Good
please start.
afternoon. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are, and welcome to this introductory webinar for one of our most popular programs, the Digital Marketing Strategy course. And we're going to spend the next 45 minutes or so outlining the main reasons why this is a program which is attended by over 3,500 people and counting around the world, and some of the reasons why this will be beneficial to you as you develop your career in digital marketing. For those of you who don't know, EMERITUS is a business that was set up 5 years ago by two alumni from leading business schools, one from Harvard, one from INSEAD. And the logic, as they saw it there, was to take the very best practice in executive education from those two business schools, but also from the MIT, from Columbia Business School, and from Tuck at Dartmouth, and extend these to people around the world who are, for various reasons, unable to make the trip to the US or to Europe to study face-to-face. Now, of course, the developments in technology in the last 2 or 3 years have made this a very exciting proposition. What I'm going to show you for the next 45 minutes is a summary of how we take the very best of the MIT, Columbia Business School, and Tuck, and the content, the courses, and the faculty expertise delivered face-to-face, and enable you to get the qualification from business school, which you can then put on your LinkedIn or on your resume to help you progress your career, or indeed to get a promotion and then to get a job elsewhere as you require. So all the rigor that goes into creating world-leading executive education, we bring to you on this program. This one delivered with Columbia Business School and the faculty lead, Professor David Rogers, more on him a little bit later. The way this works is by bringing a blended learning approach to what we deliver for you, with a combination of live webinars, videos, and graded assignments. So let's just look at these in turn. The first is very clear that for today's learner, it's very difficult, given the time demands of a busy job and various other commitments, to take time out and do this. So what we do is break the program down into bite-sized learning chunks that you can deliver on a week-by-week basis during the course of the program. So this is very modular in design, and we'll talk about the modules later. We link this to real-world experience and real-world application. Now, it's very clear that for myself, one of the course leaders, and the others working on this program, the delivery of this program, it would be pointless just to have a bunch of academics who sit there and write books. We do that stuff, but we also have hands-on expertise helping businesses develop their digital marketing strategies. And it's that hands-on experience which we bring to the learning, which sets this apart from so much other online learning, which you could be spending your time and your money delivering. We realize, of course, that today's busy business person isn't tethered to a laptop, to a PC. So the way this program is designed in terms of the user interface is to give you a mobile and tablet-friendly experience which you can pick up as you go along. So whether you're waiting at the airport to catch a flight, maybe waiting on a busy train on the way home, and you've got 45 minutes to spend, these programs are designed for that experience in mind, so you can be fitting this learning around the rest of what you're doing. This really is gold standard stuff. We're part of, associated with the business schools I've mentioned already, so you get a genuinely world-class learning experience here, with all the rigor that goes into creating, designing, researching, and delivering the programs that you would expect if you were spending your money and going face-to-face to meet the faculty at the MIT, at Columbia Business School, or the other business schools. We believe, based on the experiences of running these programs now for 5 years, that it's all very well to have the expert explain the concepts to you, the subject matter experts, But there's real value also in peer-to-peer learning, getting feedback from one another. So we will be inviting you during the course of this program to team up with other learners and tackle digital marketing challenges in teams. Now, it's logical that if you're based in a certain time zone, or if you're based in an industry and you want to tackle these challenges with others in the same time zone, in the same industry, that you are free to do so. But the important thing is to realize actually there's a lot of value in getting the views of other people who may not be close to you in terms of your industry, and seeing how they would approach the challenge. I'll show you a little bit later. We've got a hugely diverse group on this cohort running on this program, and we really welcome you to reach out to one another, find ways of tackling these problems, and this is a very good real-life simulation, because you are likely to be working with people in other markets and often from other industries. And so it's very valuable to share your learnings with others and bring their learnings into your business and what you're doing. And this program allows you to do that. A lot of what we do is cohort based. It's not based on the individual, it's working in teams. And again, that's a very good simulation for the real world, where in an agile way, so many of us now need to think beyond the immediate boundaries of our teams in our offices, bring in experts from elsewhere, and build a more collaborative way of working. I'll come back to collaboration later. That's a key theme in this program. We take the grading and evaluation very seriously. There's no way that the MIT Columbia Business School, INSEAD, would have allowed us to build a business in partnership with them and using their good name if we were allowing candidates to pass these programs and get a certificate with the name of that business school unless they had genuinely deserved it. So we do very seriously take the grading of your work and make sure that you reach the right standards in order to qualify and get the certification at the end. And we also have a number of simulations. So rather than just talk about the principles, we will give you, in this instance, a simulation for search marketing, a simulation for social media marketing, give you a budget and allow you in real time to be running campaigns, running activities against budgets, and then seeing how will you perform with that budget. So these are real life experiences, it's not just theoretical. What we are using for this webinar is the same technology and the same platform we'll be using for the actual modules as we go through. It's called Zoom. You may already have a Zoom account. You may have used this already, similar to some of the other online conferencing programs. It's very easy to use, very quick to install on your laptop or on your mobile phone. You simply register as you've done already. We ask you to unmute your mic if you wish to speak, and activate your video if you wish to be seen as part of the webinar as we go through. We want to make these really interactive, and so by using those features, we ensure that if you're not talking, we don't have any background ambient noise, and we want to make sure if you're not using your video that you get the very best streaming experience, which is why we ask you not to have your video activated unless you need it. We can see from the center how many participants we've got. We've got a Q&A dashboard. We can share screens. We've got chat. We've got all the usual features in the Zoom platform, which is robust and has worked very well and is constantly being improved for a better user experience, both for us and for you. So just a quick intro. Who am I and what am I doing as part of this program? I do three things for a living. I'm a digital consultant. So I help organizations to tackle their digital transformation challenges. Of course, digital transformation is a board level agenda point for all businesses, and the urgency is really linked to how much their competitors have embraced digital technology, what their competition is doing, and also how readily the technology that allows for transformation can be applied to the business in question. I'm the director of a digital product design business called This Place. It's actually Japanese owned. We have offices in London, in Seattle, and in Tokyo, also now in Hong Kong. And we provide world-class digital solutions, whether they are replatforming retail interfaces, transacting over €1 billion a year for one of our big clients, energy providers, financial services businesses, telcos. We've done a massive transformation program for T-Mobile. So we've got a broad range of experiences there, transforming businesses across a range of sectors. I'm not often in the UK, thanks to this thing called Brexit. So I spend most of my time in the Middle East, further east in Pakistan, in India, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia. And in these markets, I'm working with clients like American Express, Dubai Islamic Bank, HSBC, that's John Lewis, the retailer, PwC, Vodafone, and a slew of others. Training is the other thing I spend a lot of my time doing. So I'm a lead trainer for Google and run their C-level exec programs. I run a number of detailed deep dive initiatives around data-driven marketing, programmatic, mobile, and also brand activation. And I'm very proud to work with EMERITUS. EMERITUS, if you didn't know, is a Singapore-based business. We have a big support team based in India, and we have a network of alumni and partners around the world. This program, Digital Marketing Strategy and Digital Strategies for Business, are the two programs I am the course leader for. I'm also an author. I've written 3 books on mobile marketing, mobile strategy, mobile best practice, mobile commerce. It'd be great to connect if anyone wants to link in. There are details at the bottom of your screen or any of the other social channels just there. So it may seem obvious to you, but it may not seem obvious to the people in your business why you would want to take some time out and go on this program. I think this little cartoon explains very clearly why this is a challenge for a lot of businesses and why the urgency is without question. For so many businesses, you may find that the top of the business, the chief exec, the CMO, the chief financial officer, are asking for the solution to the problem without really understanding what needs to be tackled. It's not just as simple as going back with an answer like, we're doing digital, or the answer's Facebook, or we're doing some YouTube stuff, building an app using Pinterest. These are all channels. But underlying the use of these channels and the money you're spending on these channels, there has to be a well thought through strategy. And it's simply not good enough, like this hapless person in this cartoon on the bottom right. I don't know, we'll figure it out later. You've got to think through your strategy first. What is the business challenge you're looking to tackle? And how are you going to use these and other channels in the most effective way in order to overcome those challenges, or rather to exceed the expectations of both your senior stakeholders, your shareholders, but also the most important person of all, your customer, because customers are extremely demanding in terms of what services, what products they can get using digital. They are used to using things like Facebook, Amazon, Google, Uber, Netflix. These are all digital businesses which have proven the art of the possible. And for so many businesses, they need to figure out how they can provide the best version of their business on digital using the right channels that their customers are preferring. So how does it work? This is a program which requires 2 to 4 hours of commitment from you as you go through the 14 modules. It's designed over 3 months. So after 12 weeks, we will have tackled a number of key planks, key pillars in any digital marketing strategy. So we start by setting off with a clear understanding of what are the key channels and principles that you need to have in mind when you set about developing your strategy. We look at 5 core behaviors, consumer behaviors, during which you will understand how customers are now making decisions, whether they're B2C or B2B, how they're making decisions about which businesses to engage with and how to engage them and fellow customers in the digital world. The real heart of this program are 5 strategies: access, engage, customize, connect, and collaborate. I'm going to talk about those in a couple of moments, but these form the real core of the program, and these are the ones where we ask you to develop your own assignment response in teams in order to get a true understanding of these principles that you can then apply to your businesses. We then develop a 5-step process for planning and executing digital marketing strategy. And then we have a little look at the future and understand what's around the corner. What are the new technologies you should be taking into consideration as you develop your strategy? At the end of it, you'll get your certification in collaboration with Columbia Business School Exec Education. This is a guy you have probably heard of already, and I'm sure you've Googled him and you've figured out who he is and what he's done. Professor David Rogers. He is our faculty. He's the face-to-face faculty at Columbia Business School, and he writes prolifically. He speaks at international events. I've had the pleasure of co-facilitating a workshop with him for one of our clients in Malaysia. And his framework, the network is your customer, forms the core text that underpins this whole program that we're going to be presenting today. Another book that's worth reading is the Digital Transformation Playbook that you see on the left. David is the faculty lead on this program. He's also the faculty lead on digital strategies for business, which is all around digital transformation. And some of the work that David's done, internationally recognized, and also as a facilitator and a webinar leader, you'll get a chance to meet David, and you get a chance to put your questions to him during the course of this program. So what should you be expecting to learn over the next 12 weeks? These are the high-level points. First of all, to really understand consumer behavior and consumer networks. How should you be developing innovative products and services, developing communication strategies, and meeting customer needs? The customer is at the heart of everything we do now in digital. Digital has created a degree of transparency that never existed previously. With one click, anyone can go on the internet and do a search, can find out not just what the business thinks, but more importantly, what the customers and what the partners of the business are thinking and saying, and base their decisions on those people. So it's now truly a two-way dialogue where customers and the opinions of customers are as important, you could argue more important, than the view of the business itself. We'll be using concepts, best practices, case studies, and tools to help you understand how digital initiatives can be developed and shared with other people in your business. Digital isn't a thing which is developed at the top and cascaded down. More realistically, in most organizations, the guys who really understand digital are more junior. These are people in their 20s, in their 30s, people who are millennials, who themselves have been brought up in a world where they've never known an experience without the support of search, without the support of a mobile phone and all the information they can access using that. And so it's very important we understand the customer and how to bring the voice of the customer into the strategy. You'll learn how to plan, how to implement and measure your digital strategy and how to integrate this with your existing marketing. It's simply not the case that for traditional businesses born before the digital age that they just throw away everything they've done so far and replace. More, it's a case of augmenting their existing marketing with digital and finding ways of digital interaction with customers that's done in conjunction with their previous ways of working. We're going to help you to think strategically about a whole load of aspects around how to acquire customers, how to build loyalty with those customers, how to build your brand, how to enter a new market, build insights, develop new innovative products. In short, we're going to help you to disrupt. And the better you can disrupt your own business before someone else does it, the more readily you're going to be able to get out there and disrupt other businesses who haven't got their strategies thought through yet and who are sitting there vulnerable to the approaches of more customer-centric organizations. And of course, you want to be one of those. We're going to help you to really understand digitally savvy customers and how to build deep relationships, trusted relationships with them based on the engagements you have and based on how quickly you can respond to their feedback and build their feedback into your marketing, into your product roadmaps, and indeed into the very heart of your business models. So the 5 core strategies, which are the heartland of David Rogers' book, we're going to look at in turn. The first is access. And the principle here is that with so many other businesses out there and so many web pages, so many apps, so much going on social media, it's kind of hard to stand out. So we're going to help you to understand how you can use digital channels to access your core customers and how to provide content for them, which is easy for them to find. But of course, that's just the start point. What we really want to do is make sure that when they arrive on our landing pages, when they download our app, when they get on our social channels, they are engaged. What they find is truly personalized, is relevant to them. Because unless it's personalized and you've got a web page where everyone gets the same thing, why are they ever going to stay on that web page where a competitor can be a bit smarter about the data they capture, the cookie data, if it's an app, the previous browsing data, and use that data to provide a more personalized experience? You're going to hear this word personalization again and again, and you need to make sure you're bringing a one-to-one mindset to your marketing rather than thinking one size fits all. It just doesn't work that way anymore. Just think about Amazon. How many times have you been on an Amazon app or web page and found the same content as someone else? You don't. It needs to be different. It can be different. And with all the data there, if you can capture, process, and then use this data to better personalize, you're in a way better position than your competitors. What this means, of course, is that you can customize. You can customize the sorts of menus that people are seeing on web pages, the sorts of content they're getting, and just think right down to the tone of voice. If you're talking to someone who's my daughter's age, at the age of 18, or one of my other daughters who's 16, you really shouldn't be using the same language as you use when you're targeting someone who's old enough to be their parent, someone of my age, for example. It just doesn't make sense to be talking to them in the same tone of voice and the same manner. Now, just be clear here, I'm not suggesting that people who work for banks and law firms should suddenly be getting down there and using emojis for every single interaction. That wouldn't make sense. But you need to be using appropriate language and appropriate forms of customization so you really feel well suited to the customer and the product or service that that customer is engaged with. And of course, as you get more familiar with the customer, a returning customer, you can start to be a bit more familiar in terms of the salutation in the email, in terms of the sorts of messaging that you're putting out there. Because if it's more customized, of course, they're more likely to come back. The really exciting bit is what happens next. Once you've got a customer accessed, engaged, you've customized your content, we now need to build into their customer networks. We need to help them share the word. And if you make your content easy to share, if you create offers, which could be acquisition-based, if you want to introduce a sort of friend-get-friend offer where an existing customer gets rewarded for bringing a new customer, that's a very smart thing to do. Because, of course, if one of their friends is saying something is valuable or it's a good service, a reliable service, then it has far more authenticity than you saying it. Think about comparison sites. Again, whether it's an insurance company, an energy company, maybe a travel company, I'm much more likely, with all the international travel I do every year, to stay in a hotel based on what I'm seeing on TripAdvisor rather than what I'm seeing on the website itself. Of course, the hotel's going to say they've got the best food, the most comfortable mattresses, and the competing hotel will tell us that they've got the most terrible problems with their rodents in the kitchen or unpleasant things in the beds. I don't believe either. I go onto the comparison sites and I'll go onto my customers' own social media channels and have a look what they say. And if it's good enough for them, then word of mouth is still the most important form of marketing. That's going to be good enough for me. The last bit is a little bit of a surprise to some marketers who are still thinking very much about they sell and their customers buy. This sort of two-sided business where you're selling a product or a service. These days, it's all changed. Some of the most smart and the most lucrative businesses now have built platforms, and the platform itself allows the two partners on that business to communicate quickly, easily, in a very relevant way, but also bring in other partners. Just think about the food distribution market, for example. Think a little bit about, you may have heard of a business called Ocado, which is a food delivery business. Ocado's built a platform, and the platform itself allows multiple providers of products to get their food on that platform and send it to the relevant customer. Think also about a business like Uber. Uber is far more than just a taxi company. Uber allows providers of goods and services, whether they are health service or providers of services, people coming to clean your house, for example, people to provide domestic services. They can be using the Uber network in order to communicate with one another. So it builds multiple partners on a platform, and the ability to collaborate is very important in that case. Think of another example. So one of our four business cases that we look at in this program is Coca-Cola. Coke's a really interesting example where they've managed to build a very strong partnership network with Coke very much supporting a whole load of events, sport-based, music-based, community-based, ecological and recycling-based. Coke is the brand, but it's those experiences that Coke is providing and effectively sponsoring behind the scenes. Coke is collaborating with a number of other business partners, and that's an important part of this program. So I'm not going to read through this line by line, but I think you can see from these 14 modules that we've got a very logical transition from initially setting up the core concepts, looking at the channels, the principles, moving through in module 3 to really focus on these consumer behaviors I've mentioned. And then from modules 4 to 8, this is the real meat of this program, where we look at the engage strategy, we look at customize, we look at connect, and collaborate. Those 5 key strategies. And in each case, we explain the concepts, we give you some videos to watch, and we set the assignments. More on those in a few moments. It's super important to realize in digital that not everything you do is going to work. And actually, making mistakes is a good thing. You can learn a lot from the mistakes that others make, and it saves you making those mistakes yourself. So in module 9, we look at failures from other businesses. Module 10, we look at best practice around social media. Social media, of course, is a really fundamental part of the digital marketing landscape. We look at metrics and ROI and agile modeling. It's a really important part of the program in number 11. Number 12, a 5-step process to the planning and execution phase. Organizational challenges, because of course you've got to get everyone on the same page here. And for people who are non-marketing, it may seem like this is a whole different language, but we've got to get them on board and make them feel this is personally something they will benefit from. And finally, in module 14, what's around the corner, looking at the future technologies. So we have a number of live sessions, and we bring in subject matter experts to come and deliver their experiences here. And these are 90-minute webinars that we run using this platform. They're recorded, so if you can't turn up and listen in person, don't worry, you can always watch it on catch up, as most people do. And these focus on Google AdWords, of course. 70%, 80% in some markets of people's customer journeys start with the search. So knowing how to use AdWords and the Google AdWords tools is very important. And it's more than the basic stuff. You know, think about how much traffic now is voice activated, people using Google Home, the people using Alexa in order to search for products and services. It's no good just using the old school way of identifying keywords using the keyword tools, but think about if people are using voice activation, it's more conversational, their language, and therefore your keyword strategy and your use of long word keywords needs to fundamentally shift to accommodate this consumer shift. The second one is one of our simulations. So we give you the budget to spend money on a search campaign, and we ask you to drive as much traffic, as many clicks as you can to a landing page. We have a bit of fun here. We get you to compete with each other and also with the course leaders. The next one, success factors in sites and apps. That's one of the ones I deliver. This is an area of deep expertise of mine, and I explain best practice in developing world-class mobile websites and apps. And of course, there's a lot of mistakes you can make, but if you spend your money wisely and you provide a good user experience, you can fundamentally outshine the competition and get a much higher ROI on your budget there. We then look at machine learning and remarketing. A good friend of mine, Clark Boyd, who's also written a number of books, delivers that one. We look at some of the trends around machine learning and AI and how you can bring that into your marketing to radically improve your performance and reduce your costs on outbound marketing. We then do the second of our simulations with the social tool. And again, as with the search one, give you a budget, get you to run a search campaign. The next one, we have a live session with the professor where you can fire questions at him about the program, about his experiences. And that's a very interactive and very valuable learning experience. Again, that one's recorded if you can't get to it live. Session on analytics. And finally, a debrief on Facebook advertising. A very good friend of mine, Pilar, based in Barcelona, she delivers that about Facebook advertising. So there's a mix of the videos, live webinars, and the last one, of course, is assignments. I've mentioned this before. We don't just give you a qualification unless you really deserved it. And so our assignments, we have assignments in the first couple of weeks around customer advocacy and customer networks. We have the search simulation. Numbers 3 to 5 are the big ones. These are the access, engage, customize, connect, collaborate assignments. More on those in a moment. We have a week off, number 8, week 8. We do an assignment on metrics, and then we don't have an assignment in the last week number 10. So just an important little bit of advice here for you about the assignments. You need to complete 7 of these in total to get your certificate. 7 out of 9. The key ones, which are the 5 strategies I mentioned earlier, you get 7 days to complete and submit your assignments. Now, if you get them in on time, your course leader will read through those assignments and will include some of your ideas in their weekly debrief webinar. If you get them in late, you won't have time for them to be considered and brought into the debrief, which is kind of a shame, because if you really want to learn, it's good to have your ideas presented and get feedback from other people, and of course get feedback from the course leader. And so while it may be tempting to say, hey, great, I need to do nothing until the end and then cram in your 7 assignments in the last week, that's not really a smart thing to do unless you're absolutely desperate and have no alternative, because doing these methodically during the course of the program, getting feedback from your course leader and from other students is a much better way to do the program, where you can be getting a collaborative way of working with those on an ongoing basis. The simulations, we use this tool, it's called Mimic Pro, very easy to use, and we simply give you, for each of the 2 simulations, a budget to play with. We get you to, and this is the search one, we give you some keywords, we get you to put some programs together, some ad campaigns together with specific revenue targets, profit targets, units sold and visits, all clearly explained on this homepage. The social media one, very similar look and feel. In this case, we ask you to select the relevant social media channels and deliver your campaign with a set budget. So if it's $20,000, we'll ask you to allocate the $20,000 across a series of social media engagements and channels, and they'll be linked to a specific business challenge. In this case, this supply company, Bowie. By the way, just to be clear, not everything we do here is B2C. So we've got a big B2B curriculum program here for those in the B2B world. And we get you to compete not just with each other, but also with the course leaders. It's quite fun to see if you can get a better score than the course leaders. And this whole lot is facilitated by our friends at Stukent, who provide the software for this program also. Worth saying on these debriefs for the 5 key assignments here, that you'll have a choice of 4 businesses to join, effectively to join a cohort. The 4 businesses do vary, but in the past we focused on Coca-Cola, which is the group that I run. Coca-Cola both is B2C and B2B focused, and looks at a whole load of issues and entertainment topics. There's a whole lot around diet, around regulation here, which is quite interesting if you work in the regulatory industries, heavily regulated. And of course, as a good example of taking a traditional brand and bringing it into the digital world, as Coke has done extremely successfully. We also have one from Lego. Now, Lego is a fascinating business that's moved way beyond just plastic bricks which kids play with. It's a very interesting business case for how the Lego business, through serious play, has been pivoted towards a business audience. We use Lego extensively in a lot of our digital transformation workshops to get people to solve problems in a kinesthetic way, which allows people to move away from complex language that sometimes people get a little bit confused by, and to really see problems in a way which those of a more artistic persuasion can identify. Really helps to break down silos. The third one we have is Hilton Hotels, and the fourth one is Office Depot. And again, each of those has a strong B2B and B2C component. And so by joining one of those groups, you'll then be asked to focus your efforts on those 5 weeks on specific assignments which link to that business, to the business that you select. And there are usually about 100 people in each of those groups. Here's the platform we use. It's very robust. It doesn't fall over. It's easy to customize. It's called Canvas. And here you'll see a home screen. You get your own dashboard. You set up your account. You get a dashboard. All of the information about your course will appear on the screen there. And there's a video of Professor David Rogers. This is one of the videos that you see. And just like watching a YouTube video, you can blow that up full screen, you can pause it, you can share it, you can watch it as many times as you like. We have the assignments on here. We have discussion boards on here where you can start a discussion, or your course leader will. And we've got a whole load of other events and activities here. You've got your own calendar, you've got your own inbox. So this effectively is your online concierge tool that helps you to manage your learning experience as you go along. Just a few recommendations before we wrap up and take questions in the last 15 minutes. The first is, like Any of you will know if you've recently graduated from school or university, or you'll know if you've got kids at school or university, it's a good idea to try and pace yourself, block out some time and a place where you find it easy to switch off your mobile device and your other distractions, and just get your head down and learn on an ongoing basis. Don't just cram it into the last week. Sure, you can get the requisite marks and pass, but you won't really get anything like the full value in the program if you do that. More pace it and give yourself a better chance of getting the very best grade. You want to get a distinction on this course. You don't want to simply get a pass, and you can show that on your profile. You want to work really well with your classmates. It's all about collaboration. It's not a kind of solo marathon run. It's more like a team in the Tour de France. You know, you're in a team, you're working together, you all want to get over the line together. And you want to work with the EMERITUS team. Fantastic support you'll get from the guys in Mumbai. They're there, they're helping, seems like 24/7 with technical issues, admin issues, all around your learning experience. If you've got any problems at all, some personal issues which get in the way, get in contact with them and they'll do all they can to help, particularly if you're falling behind because you've got other stuff. If necessary, you can then take time out and then resit or join the next cohort when it comes along. Put this stuff into practice. You know, the reason you're doing this is not just to get something for your LinkedIn and to get a promotion. The hope is that you're going to learn a whole load of stuff here, some very useful frameworks and lessons that you can apply in the real world to your business. And while we ask you to bring your kind of business head into this, to see how you can apply for your own business the learnings, the real opportunity is to see how other businesses, best practice, digital organizations, digital pioneers, see how they do it, and then figure out what you can apply to your business from that. So just going to wrap up here with a few numbers. This, as I said at the top of this webinar, is one of our most popular programs. So far, 3,500 people have done this program from over 100 countries around the world. So sure, we have some in the US, but the majority, of course, are non-US based. We've got Mexico and Brazil, two big markets, clearly big populations, where digital is really beginning to fundamentally transform the way that the economy is working. In the advanced markets, in the UK and Switzerland, both interestingly non-EU markets or non-Euro markets, at least for the time being, we have a big representation from there. The UAE, indeed, add to that Saudi, add to that other states in the GCC, the Gulf states. There's a lot of interest there. Digital, again, is really taking hold and fundamentally transforming the way people do business in a very digitally savvy part of the world. India, a big market. Not surprisingly, we get a lot of people through the program from India. And then a little further afield, we see Singapore, our headquarters. There's a healthy number of people from Singapore, and also Thailand who enroll in our programs. So we often get the question, look, if I come on this course, who else is going to be on the course? Are they going to be like me? Are they going to be more senior, more junior? And I think the answer is as easy as just looking at the pie chart here. So you can see the majority of people on this program have between 6 and 20 years of experience. So sure, we get some people who are kind of straight out of university in the 1 to 5 year, but the majority have more business experience. This is important. It's important because we're not talking about kids at university here. We're talking about people who've got real business experience already. Maybe they've done their first job, their second job. They're wanting to be more entrepreneurial and set their own thing up. Or maybe they're looking to work with others who perhaps don't have the knowledge and the ability to flex easily and are more averse to change. Maybe there's more inertia in certain industries. So the people on these programs have got hands-on experience of business already, so they understand the barriers and the challenges that get in the way. and they're therefore very receptive to a lot of our thinking and learning about how to make things happen, even though it may be quite difficult from the outset because it's not the way things are done around here. So the nitty-gritty bit, the kind of the business end of this, how much does it cost and when do I need to pay the cash? Well, the answer is $1,400 US for the program. And if you're in Singapore, then there's the government state tax that you're going to need to pay for people based in Singapore. We have flexible payments. So if you don't want to pay this in one go, maybe if you're self-funding and you can't find that money, then we do two other payment options. One is a 2-part payment and the other a 3-part payment, in which case you pay in installations and all the payment will be done before the course ends and you get your certificate. The next one of these starts just in a few days, 21st of August, and you've got right up until the 20th to enroll. If you can't get the money together or you need a bit more time, we do run this program every couple of months. And so we'll be looking for enrollments in approximately 2 months' time for the program starting in late October. This is what you'll be getting at the end of the program, a certificate you can see signed by Emeritus, but also Columbia Business School. Now, for some people, this is a big deal. The physical thing they stick in their office, they stick above their desk. Almost everyone who graduates will put this on their LinkedIn profile. Again, it's a good calling card for people searching for digitally savvy execs to come and work in their business. It's got real value because we don't just give these away without the accreditation. You really need to earn it to get it. And then the last thing on the network, by doing this program, you'll be joining a very successful network of Emeritus alumni. And there's a lot to this, as you would expect if you graduate from the MIT, Columbia, Harvard. Joining the network of alumni gives you all sorts of access to people, opportunities, funding for startups, jobs, and guidance, career guidance and mentoring. And all of that stuff is available through the Emeritus Network. Again, if you want to know more about this, please talk to the guys in the support team. But what I'd like to do now is throw it open to you guys. We got 10 minutes, so let's just have a look and see what questions we've got in the chat. So let's start with Douglas here, Douglas Foster. With a half-life of 2.5 years of all things digital, do you have a vision for continuing learning? And if so, will course attendees have some favored nation status for future courses? I mean, I think, Douglas, it's a good point. You know, every day really is a learning day. You shouldn't be thinking that, oh, I've done that course, I'm good to go. You know, it's always changing. The technology is changing. The competition is changing. Your customers are changing. So you need to stay up to speed. I'm not aware that there's a kind of a deal on signing up for the next program, although a lot of people do more than one Emeritus program. They see the value in the first one and move on to the next one. What I would suggest, Douglas, is check out the diploma, which is a 9-month program, and that combines digital marketing strategy, digital strategies for business, and our digital platforms programs all together in a single 9 months. And you'll probably find that doing that winds up being a better deal in terms of the money you'll be spending than doing these individually. But you need to be convinced, or maybe convince others, that that is a good use of 9 months. So think it through carefully. Are we going to use marketing platforms such as CRM, Marketo? On the program itself, we don't use a CRM platform like that, but you will be accessed to information about those tools. And we do encourage you to read around widely and bring in some of those tools into your assignment responses. By the way, one tool we do use is Zendesk, which is an extremely smart way of us managing the workflow with for the support team. So we identify the big issues, and we're able to prioritize based on the number and importance of various issues that arise on the support help desk chatbot. So Damola, do we have best practice examples of advertising agencies that have integrated this well? We don't talk explicitly about ad agencies on this program, but interestingly, Damola, we normally get quite a lot of people from ad agencies, and that becomes very apparent from the chat in the discussion groups in the chat bot, and also some of the responses in the assignments. I've had a number of dialogues with agency people from various parts of the world over the last 3 years that I've been running this as a course leader. Can my own startup be the focus of assignments? Shell, that's a great question. We did have that set up at one point, but it became very difficult for us to manage. So instead, we focused the assignments on the 4 big businesses I mentioned earlier. Douglas, again, are there any lectures or programs you can attend at Columbia? Douglas, yes, you can, in terms of whether you get some form of deal for doing so. I'll talk to the support desk and ask for some feedback from them. Tio, how different is this course compared to the module in the upcoming postgrad diploma course? Are the online content assignments similar? Well, okay, so the diploma program, as I mentioned a minute ago, that includes 3 components, and one of them is this course. So it's exactly the same course content that we tackle there, although we won't be spending as much time on the assignments in that program because there's a lot of other work we do on the diploma and a capstone project we do at the end of it. But the learnings themselves are the same, Cleo. So Anna, may I ask how the cases assignments will be divided? Are we going to be able to explore them all? Yes, good question, Anna. So we ask you to select one of those businesses and we focus on the same business for all 5 assignments. That way it becomes easier to see a thread of how we apply all 5 strategies to a business case, which makes it very important for you to think through which of those businesses is most relevant to you and to your business or your career. Yogenda, are we going to discuss investment thresholds and diminishing ROI within a channel for the program? Yeah, there's a good question. There's a section on ROI and metrics, and we do look at investment and how we track investment, understanding how we capture data, how we align different data feeds, and how we attribute investment in one channel or one form of marketing to your investment in one of those channels. So there's a big piece around attribution modeling, which should be useful to you. The next one, if I decide to join Columbia for a master's, will these credits apply to my degree? Good question. Please talk to the support desk to get the answer on that one. I don't know the answer myself. We'll be receiving latest journals, articles, case studies, links. Yeah, you'll be getting a lot of this stuff in the discussion forum, but also Professor Rogers does cite a number of third-party sources in the program and in the various different webinars that the subject matter experts use. They will be sharing best practice examples. But yeah, this is bang up to date stuff. We're not using old data. I don't think you're going to find any stats that go back more than 24 months on this program. So if I can just jump over to the chat, we've got a lot of stuff going on here. I'd like to know, is there any discount for the LATAM markets? Hernan, please talk to support desk on that one. I wouldn't get too hung up on grammar mistakes. I mean, the main thing is that you understand the principles. You're not going to be marked for your grammar, although this is a question that comes up a lot. You need to have a good working knowledge of English. You may, if you're doing one of the assignments alongside others from Latin markets, you may want to be doing some of the prep in Spanish and Portuguese. That's fine. But the assignment itself should be written in English, and we expect to have, a competent use of business English, even though we don't expect fluency there. Can we provide tuition assistance, tuition fee? Okay, yeah, that's from the program support team. Thanks for that. How different is this course compared to modular upcoming graduate? Yeah, we've done that one already. And then the postgrad diploma course is a combination. Yeah, we've got that one. In case I'd like to get the postgrad diploma, how much is the fee? Hernan, please go on the website or ask the support team, who will be happy to provide that information. So are there any more questions? Sadar, all the dates for the live sessions already announced. Yeah, so it's pretty sequential. So when you sign up, there will be a calendar of the 14 weeks, and we break down very precisely when these sessions happen. Typically, they take place at 1300 hours UTC. So UTC is the new name for Greenwich Mean Time. It's sort of 5 hours ahead of Eastern Time in the States. It's 5.5 hours behind India Standard Time, 8 hours behind Singapore time. So, you know, the hour shifts during the summer and winter, but it's in the middle of the day. And the idea is that people from the East and the West can be online at the same time. And the dates will be confirmed as soon as the program starts. But just go back to the earlier slides that show week by week what we include, and then those live webinars are slotted in there. Are the dates of the live sessions already? Yeah, we've got that one. Will we be able to manage and measure completely a marketing campaign after we take the course? Yeah, I mean, the idea is, Joe, we give you all the tools and the frameworks, so you should be able to do this for yourself. Now, this isn't an advanced course in analytics. You know, I deliver these sorts of programs as a consultant, but this, you won't get every single solution to every marketing challenge here, but we give you a good working knowledge of the principles of analytics, what you can measure, of attribution, of consolidating data, of using, and the principles of using machine learning, so you can dynamically allocate budget to get the best return on your investment. But this isn't an advanced analytics program. If you wish to know more about that, talk to the guys at the support desk, and they'll be able to help you. If you wish to, please feel free to contact me. I can stick my contact details up a little later. Any other questions? Any other questions? We've got quite an interesting mix of observations there. I mean, I'd say as we hit the hour mark, if anything else occurs to you, please feel free to reach out to the support team. They have all the detailed answers on anything administrative, anything around payments, around registration. We're hearing that the fee for the postgrad diploma is $3,000, so it's more than double this, but you're effectively getting 3 courses. So actually that's very good value. So if I may just go back to the presentation for a moment. If you wish to make contact, please feel free. I'll stick my contact details back up there. And unless there are any further questions, I'll wish you every success in getting registered, going through the program, and applying the learnings to your digital transformation journey. So thanks for joining us today, and it's been a pleasure spending this time with you. All the best.